What's going on, students? Austin here. Welcome to your first week of groups back in 2022. Hey, we're excited. This month, we're going to be studying the book of Exodus, and we're going to be looking at some cool stories of when God shows up, he shows out. And let me ask you this. Raise your hand if you've ever heard that before. Have you ever heard that phrase before? What does that mean? When someone says something like that, what does that mean? Maybe you've heard a phrase like, it's time to ball out, right? Or maybe it's time to shine, or look good, to feel good, to play good, or something like dress to impress. Or maybe you've heard things like YGG, right? You go, girl. Like, that is something that everyone says. Or yes, queen, right? Those are things that people say on a regular, and what they are trying to communicate when they do it is that there's this moment where all my wants, all the things I desire, the thing that I've been waiting for, this is my time for those dreams to come true. This is my time. And we all have those moments, right? For me, I remember in high school, my moments were right before a basketball game. It was right before I'd have my headphones in, and I'm listening to that song to put me right in the mindset and put me in the zone. But y'all get that. Y'all get it. You know, show up and show out. For us today, that looks like a bunch of different things. It may look like, look at me, right? It may be a heart posture that says, I'm the best, or it's my time to shine. I'm gonna get this girl. I'm gonna get this boy. I'm gonna win this game. In our story today, y'all, we are gonna see a God who shows up and shows out, but not like us. He's different. He's different. When he shows up and shows out, it looks like this. It looks like he blesses others. It looks like he frees the people that are enslaved. It looks like him coming in humbleness rather than in arrogance. He takes the ones who are being taken advantage of and he liberates them. Y'all, what we're gonna see today is that he uses a man who is afraid to speak for him. God isn't like us, but this God of this story wants to know us. He wants to know you. And when we start to know the God of the Bible, things begin to change. We start becoming like him and showing up and showing out like he does, instead of showing up and showing out for our own glory. All right, so here in the next little bit, what you're gonna do is I'm gonna have you pause the screen and I want you to read Exodus 3, 1 through 15, okay? Really quick, before you guys jump back into a little bit more discussion, there are three things I hope you were able to see in this passage that I just want to hit on really, really fast and encourage you to dive deeper into, okay? So the first one is God sees, right? We see this in Exodus 3:7. Then the Lord said, I have surely seen the affliction of my people who are in Egypt and have heard their cry because of their taskmasters. I know their sufferings, and I have come down to deliver them out of the hand of the Egyptians and bring them out of the land to a good and broad land, a land flowing with milk and honey. Y'all, our God sees. He saw the Egyptians here who were enslaved, that were suffering, and he came down and he sees us in the same way. So that's the first thing, God sees. Second, when God shows up, he shows up big. He shows up big. What we see here is God's name is mentioned in Exodus. He is the name of Yahweh, right? It means that he is Lord. His name itself is a message. It's a message for us that God never had a beginning. God will never end. God is absolute reality. God is independent. Everything depends on God. Everything else is nothing in comparison to God. God is constant. God is the standard of truth, goodness, and beauty, and God does whatever he pleases. And it's always right. It's always beautiful, and it's always in accord with truth. Y'all, God is the most important and valuable reality and the most important and valuable person in the universe. And what we see in this story is that God that I just mentioned visits Moses through a flame burning in a bush. That's our story today. And he allows himself to be seen even though he is bound to nothing but himself. He is totally free and independent of anyone else. That is the God of this story. That is the God of the Bible. But here's the cool thing about it. That this God who is so big and so good, that can see, but also is so independent of anybody and anything, wants something to do with people. He wants something to do with people. We see this, read with me in Exodus 6, verse 6 through 8. It says, "Therefore say to the Israelites, I am the Lord, and I will bring you out from under the yoke of the Egyptians. I will free you from being slaves to them, and I will redeem you with an outstretched arm, with mighty acts of judgment. I will take you as my own people, and I will be your God. Then you will know that I am your Lord, who brought you out from under the yoke of the Egyptians. And I will bring to you the land I swore with uplifted hand to give to Abraham, to Isaac, and to Jacob. And I will give it to you as a possession. I am the Lord." Y'all, this is the Lord speaking to his people, to the Egyptians, where he is saying, I will bring you out. I will free you. I will liberate you. And he wants to be with his people. Y'all, here's the thing. Our God, what he does is he takes us from something to something, right? And another way to say this might be this: God chooses to leverage his goodness. He chooses to take his kindness and put it towards people for his glory and in our good. It's for his glory and our good that he leverages his goodness. And he has the power to do so because he's so big. And we see this and we know this in this story, but also we can see this in Jesus. We have confidence in this because of Jesus. God sent Jesus to the cross to take our sins. And in return, what did he do? He gave us his goodness, right? He gave us an ability, an opportunity to have a relationship with him. Y'all, we didn't deserve that. But in his goodness, he gave that to us. And it's through the sacrificial showing up and showing out of Jesus that we can know and follow God. Now, I hope as you go to your groups or your study that you grab a couple people and you talk about these things with one another. And I want you to answer these two questions specifically. What does it mean to know and follow God? And how can you help each other follow Jesus together? All right, go off in your groups.